if you break it down fundamentally, 56% of marriages end in divorce. Like, think about, that's the ones that end in divorce. So how many people, what percentage stay together for the kids? Or because they don't want to give away half their shit? Another 10%? That's conservative.
Conservative.
But let's say 20% then, okay?
That's at least right.
You now have a technology that fails 76% of the time. That's insane. That's insane. That's more likely than not. 76%. If I told you there's a 76% chance when you walk out the door today you're going to get hit in the head with a bowling ball, you would not go out, or you'd wear a helmet for sure. But people just continue to get married. Not only do they continue to get married, there's a presumption that you should get married. And if you don't get married, there's something wrong with you. So if you've got a girlfriend and you've been with her for 5 years, and you say to someone, we're getting married, they go, oh, that's great. You know, they don't go, why?
Why do people keep getting married? Why marry? That's the question we want to ask. Like, you heard the guy say 56% of people, or marriages rather, end in divorce. Let's imagine there are 100 marriages every year. More than half of that, 56 of that, end in divorce. So then why do people get married? Because people still keep on getting married. Your mothers and your aunties are still forcing you or still asking you, when would you marry? Somebody is still bothering you right now. Pray. Some people are still on the altar praying, Jesus, forgive me, husband, give me wife. Why? Let's get into it. Hey, what's up, people? This is Boladeola Ojo, and thank you for joining this video. And if this is your first time joining my channel or watching any of my videos, please consider subscribing, hit that bell notification, and get notified every single time I do new videos. And most importantly for me, leave a comment in the comment section. I like to read your thoughts. And if you like the video, like the video. All right, so the beginning of this video that we are going to react to, this guy who is a lawyer, from my research, he's a lawyer, he's a divorce lawyer, explains something very crucial. He says that about 56%, statistically, 56% of marriages end up in divorce. He then, goes into a bit more numbers, which we're going to watch the entirety of the video now, and then react to it. But the question I want to ask in this video is, why get married? Why are people still wanting to get married? Is the issue marriage, or the things people are not doing before they marry? So let's get into it. Come with me. Let's go.
If you break it down fundamentally, 56% of marriages end in divorce.
Okay.
Like, think about that, the ones that end in divorce.
End in divorce.
So how many people, what percentage stay together for the kids? Or because they don't want to give away half their shit? Another 10%? That's conservative.
Conservative.
But let's say 20% then, okay?
That's at least right.
You now have a technology that fails 76% of the time.
That 20% is the people that just stick it out because of the kids or because they don't want to give up half of their stuff. All right.
That's insane.
76%.
That's insane. That's more likely than not. 76%. If I told you there's a 76% chance when you walk out the door today you're going to get hit in the head with a bowling ball, you would not go out, or you'd wear a helmet for sure.
Okay.
But people just continue to get married. Not only do they continue to get married, there's a presumption that you should get married. And if you don't get married, there's something wrong with you. So if you've got a girl...
Is that true? Is there a presumption that if you don't get married, there's something wrong with you? I know for a fact that in an African family, for instance, I'm Nigerian. I know for a fact that that is somewhat true. Leaning more on true and not... and less on the false side, because lots of mothers, aunties, even fathers would pressure their daughters, specifically the daughters and then the sons, to get married. Like, what are you waiting for? Finish school, you're working a decent job, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Mind you, these are parents that will prevent you from getting married or even getting close to anybody when you're younger. But now when you get of a marriageable age, they want you to get married. There's pressure. Let me give you an example. I'm an MC and I do a lot of weddings. And oftentimes when I go do weddings, we do this bouquet toss, right? Let me tell you, that is an elite sport. So much so that not just the young ladies, the beautiful young ladies that come out to catch the bouquet, the aunties and mothers of these young ladies or other young ladies are not even present, join the queue to try to catch the bouquet. You see that there's such a willingness and such a drive for the marriage. 1 in 50, women wants to catch. 1 in 50 women are all the 50, and they believe that one of us will catch that bouquet. And once we catch that bouquet, maybe something will happen. They'll get married. Whether it's superstition, whether it's faith, doesn't matter. But it just shows you that marriage is such a big deal, especially in Africa or Nigeria. I can speak from our country. People still have the willingness to marry, even though the percentages are there that a lot of those marriages end up in divorce. Let's continue.
Been with her for 5 years, and you say to someone, we're getting married. They go, oh, that's great. They don't go, why? You're happy. Why would you get married? Like everything's going fine. Why would you put yourself through that? Why would you run that risk? If you say to someone, we've been together 5 years and we've decided we're not going to get married. We're going to move in together, but we're not going to get married. Ooh, you have intimacy issues? What's your problem? But meanwhile, 56% end in divorce. It's literally fits the legal definition of negligent.
So that is just a snippet of the whole video. I don't have the whole video. This is just a very tiny snippet of the whole video. There is a comment in this video that tells us a bit more about the whole video, and I'll get to that commenting section to give you guys some context as to who this guy is and what he was explaining. All right, so let's get into the question of the day, which is why get married? Why are people still trying to get married, or why should you get married? Is it worth it? Statistically, according to this guy's number, 56% end up in divorce. 20% extra would have divorced if they had the opportunity, but they don't want to divorce because of the kids or because of they don't want to give up, their stuff, so they stick it out. So let's assume everybody does, in all things equal, everybody just does what they want to do. Then it will be 76% of marriages end up in divorce. That is crazy. So you'll go and say I do on the altar, knowing that there is a 76% chance that you will be getting divorced. Some people try to explain it in the comment section. We're gonna just go through it real quick. Let's go. All right, so this first person says, in my culture, majority of marriages last till death. I'm Armenian. Armenia's divorce rate is 25%. Used to be 10%, but we are also usually taught the right morals and values growing up. So majority of our people are actually good people. If you go to Armenia, you can trust almost any man on the street. Not only that, we are taught that just because there's an altercation or rough patch in the marriage doesn't mean we should divorce. I was with my ex-partner for 8.5 years. If he didn't break it off, I never would have, because of how I look at love and marriage. It is ingrained in my brain to look at marriage as a very special, sacred thing. In the long run, those small fights and issues don't matter. And I know my ex regrets it because those small things are nothing compared to the grand scheme of things. I'm sorry, but your Americans aren't taught about the concept of marriage much and the significance of it at all. You're just married for today, not thinking about tomorrow. It's not a joke or something to do because you feel like you love the person today. My parents and my grandparents are still married, and my relatives, uncles, aunts are all still married. There's certain things I don't like about my culture, but being taught loyalty, dignity, family honor, kindness, and the significance of love have become so important to me. I didn't realize how special it was to be taught these values until now, after trying to date in America in this day and age. Okay, someone says marriage has lost its meaning to the world, but in the church it is a sacrament in which two become one. But people who date for 9 years and live together and have kids, I don't understand why they make a big deal out of getting married. LOL. You've disregarded God's way but want to borrow from religion to have a big party. There is always the option of repentance, of course. Every sin is forgivable and nobody will will ever be perfect, but trying to live by God's design and rejecting it will produce much different fruit in our lives. I'm sure statistics of families that go to church show a much lower percentage of divorce. Okay, marriage fail nowadays because people love themselves more than they love the person they claim to love. We are selfish, dishonest, and have been programmed to think that we have the right to be happy no matter what the cost is. And most of the time, that involves instant sexual gratification. And with all the temptation out there, we seek validation and admiration from total strangers instead of looking to our partners. This is a small clip from a long conversation about marriage. This guy is a divorce lawyer. He actually isn't arguing in the full clip that you shouldn't get married. He argues that you should take the proper steps when doing so because it's the single greatest decision of your life. And most people have no idea what marriage even means for your taxes, job, income, and the rest of your life. He's explaining why the current outlook of marriage isn't working and how people need to be more educated and take proper steps in case something bad happens in marriage. And marriage won't be as detrimental in doing so. Actually, a great interview. Most people put more energy into buying a house than getting married, and marriage is the most impactful decision you can make in your life. All right, so that was the clip. That was the comment about the clip that we just watched, right? So that comment gave a bit more context to who the guy is, what he was talking about, and the value he was trying to provide in the video. Now, this is what I would say. Let's stop asking the question, why get married? Let's start asking the question, how to get married. How to get married properly. I think the issue isn't marriage because honestly, the pros still outweighs the cons, and that's why I think people are still gravitating towards getting married. And I get it. Some people it has nothing to do with the pros or the cons. It's just a cultural thing. Once you get to a certain age, you should get married. But if you really look at it, if you really look at the benefits of marriage, and I think that's what this guy was trying to explain, that this lawyer was trying to explain, that if you actually do marriage right, the benefit for it, for your job, your income, your taxes, your generational wealth is actually a great thing. Is the one single most impactful decision of your life. So the question shouldn't be why get married, because nowadays people just dismiss. I am part of the people. We dismiss, and I'm trying to change my mindset now. So that's why I'm talking about this. We dismiss the whole notion of getting married. Why should I get married? People get divorced all the time. Look at the other day, this guy got married. She divorced him. Now she wants half of his stuff. Look at Simon and Portia. Now, is it Portia or Portia? Whatever her name is. She's after 15 months of marriage, she's about to divorce the guy. She's filed for divorce. And guess what? There's a prenup. She might collect half of his money. Some people might look at that and be like, why would I want to put myself through that? I know someone that, got married and now divorced, and she has the custody of the children and everything else. She has the house that they're living in. He bought the house before he got married to her, but because she has the children, she gets the house with the kids, all of that, and it's crazy. So when you hear those things, you're thinking to yourself, so why would I want to do that to myself? Like, why? I think that question is valid, right? But I think the other question, the other side of the question that should be asked, that should be discussed more often than not, is how to get married properly, how to do it the right way. So there are people that will say, to get married the right way, as you've seen, someone was talking about religion, right? Do it God's way. Look at what the Bible says and do it God's way. The other person that spoke also talked about doing it the way of their culture, the Armenian culture, where there is a strict or there is a strong, not strict, there's a strong indoctrination around family values and loyalty and trust and all that kind of stuff. It's very sacred. So, you know, that helps shape the mindset around a union, right? So that could be another way of doing it. But I don't have the answers. I'm not married, so I don't have the answers, and I'm not claiming to be the person that's going to tell you how to marry properly. My opinion is that the question we are asking is why, which is why get married, should flip to how to get married the right way or properly, or with, you know, how to get married and stay married and stay happy and married. I think that's the right question. When people unite, when people are in a union, whether it's at work, in a community, in a club, in a school, there is always going to be strife. We are human beings. We have different personalities. We have different backgrounds, different cultures, different values, all of that. So when you consider that human beings come together and they bring all this mixture, there's going to be an explosion somehow. However, we make it work in all these other different places. We figure it out in all these other different places, right? So why can't we figure marriage out? So I think the right question should be how to get married the right way or properly, where it lasts long, forever, whatever. This is one more thing I'm going to add before I end this video is, and I want to hear your thoughts, by the way. I don't want to go through all the comments here, but I want to hear your thoughts. There's a lot of very fragile foundation, you know, with marriages, you know, and that comes from just the upbringing of a lot of people. A lot of people, and I'm making a very general statement here, so please forgive me, but I've seen the quality and the quality of the mindset of so many men nowadays online, and sometimes it scares me as a man. And the quality of the mindset of a lot of women right now, it scares me as a man as well. I wonder if I just think about it. I read some of those comments or some of those, you know, things, and I'm like, if this one gets married, that marriage will fail, because it's like, this is a weak mindset. This is a very untrained mentality, you know. And I say that very carefully because I don't want to offend anybody, and I'm just saying that very carefully, respectfully, that, you know, we need to do better with our upbringing. It needs to be a bit more intelligent, because marriage is not beans, you know. It's not it's not beans, it's work. I'm not married, but I know people that are married, and I know it's not easy. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. We started off with the question, why get married? I think, you know, obviously it starts with two individuals then becoming a union. So it's not the union as a problem, it's the two individuals, I think. If you like this video, like the video, share the video, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.